Hey guys, I took my first international flight and it wasn't as chaotic as I expected. I had a lot to share with us because before I took this trip, I heard a lot of crazy things. So today I'm giving you the full gist of what I expected, what actually happened, and my little review of flying EgyptAir for the first time. Okay, before this trip, I was told, of course, a lot of things about the Lagos International Airport. That's the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. And, there were a lot of rumors, a lot of things that were said in preparation for my trip. And on getting to the airport, I expected worse because, if you go on Twitter, a lot of people have bad reviews, stolen luggages, crowded airport, disorganized, and a lot of bad reviews out there. So I expected, okay, the worst comes to the worst, I was ready. And even worst of all is that, you are going to be threatened to pay, to make certain payments, certain bribes, and so on and so forth. So I went with that mind that, okay, in the name of the Lord, we go in God's strength and we just hope for the best. However, on getting to the airport, I was blown away. In as much as the airport is not as perfect as what it should be yet, but I compared what I heard to what I saw, and I was like, who are these people giving this review? And I think it's an habit that we Nigerians particularly we need to actually stop. We need to look into that attitude. We are very fond of promoting negative things about our country. We are very fond of promoting things that we feel are bad and will give us bad reputation out there. But when things are done right, or when things are at least slightly improved on, we hardly speak about these things. We hardly, celebrate these things. I have been to the airport, to Lagos International Airport before. I've been to the airport, in previous years, but I've not been to the airport in recent times. So seeing the reviews online, I just felt things had gotten maybe worse, and I began to expect the best or the worst, anyways. But getting to the airport, I saw that things were a bit improved. First thing I noticed was they reduced the amount of people that had access to the departure terminal. Like 2014, when I was at the airport, a lot of people had access to the airport, whether you were traveling, you were not traveling, just all kind of people, and that made the criminal rate very high because of dubious acts were being carried, due to the amount of people that were present. But the first thing I noticed was that if you were not traveling, you would not be given access into the airport. And that was a very good one for us because we had to be there very early in the morning. So on getting there, I saw that the number of people in the airport were very limited compared to what, the internet or the social media had already exaggerated. That for me was already a 10 over 100. So scoring them, I already gave them a 10 over 100 because I felt like when a place is not crowded, it's going to give us more opportunity to do the right things. The second shock was actually the hospitality of the staffs. Oh my goodness. I was flying with EgyptAir, and we began to look for the cabin where they were, the station where each airlines attend to their customers. And on getting to the place where we're going to be attended to, I saw how organized things were. Like, these were my brothers. These were Nigerians doing things in the right way. I was so impressed. I saw how on getting there, there were some things I didn't understand. So I saw how the man that was the security that was directing everybody without shouting, without harassing. He just came and said, "Oh, sorry, you have not done this. You have to go do that and then come back here to." And when I was done, I came back. He was like, "Okay, yeah, come in." And it was just so organized. And I remember even the woman who attended to us, that was checking in our luggage. I think my luggage was it my luggage now? Okay, yeah, no. That was my younger sister's luggage. She had an extra luggage that was a bit heavy. And she was like, okay, you know what? Let me help you check this luggage in so that you can just go with a lighter luggage into the plane, And I just looked without asking for money. Like, come on, this is the Nigerian that a lot of people have said bad things about. And here was I seeing things done in the right way. So after that incident, we went straight into the immigration, the customs, and of course there was this popular saying, I mean this popular rumor that a lot of them will ask you for money, they will, they will demand money from you, which they were, which was actually correct. They were right on that. However, what they didn't emphasize was they will not harass you for money. They will just, most Nigerians will just, is there anything for us? If you say there is nothing, they'll say, oh, that's fine. Have a very nice trip, safe journey, and all that. And I felt like, okay, in as much as I'm not approving of asking for money every time when you meet people at the airport, I just felt like the exaggeration over this matter was just way too much. Everyone I met, in short, there was an incident where a particular immigration officer asked us for money, and we're just like, we had spent, a lot of expenses. We don't even have any cash on us. And he said, no problem, you can go. So then we had not walked maybe 2 minutes thereabout when we had an issue. And in my head, I was just like, oh, this guy this officer that just asked for money, is he now going to come and help us out? He most likely will even ignore us. And even if he's going to come around, he might just worsen the issue. But luckily for us, he came around and he still found a way to help us so that we could easily sort out our issues, then go into the boarding room. And that incident just made me feel like, wow. Then who are the people experiencing these bad things at the airport? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still going to talk about some things later on, to put a balance. That I'm not saying this thing don't exist, but I feel like it has just been too overemphasized and over exaggerated, and we need to be cautious on that. Or maybe I was just lucky. So if you had a different experience, feel free to share in the comment section. All right, let's move to my flight experience. This was my first time flying EgyptAir, and before flying EgyptAir, I had heard a lot also about EgyptAir. I had heard many bad reviews, a lot of bad reviews. So I'm one of the person who do a lot of research when I want to do something for the first time. So I already saw on YouTube people giving their reviews that, oh, EgyptAir is one of the worst, and some people were giving a fair review. It's not like everybody I watched were giving bad reviews. So, but people already said expect the worst for when you are flying with EgyptAir. So I said, okay, let's go. The first thing I observed was the hospitality. Now, I must commend EgyptAir on their hospitality. I know some people have had bad experiences, but I did not. And I just have to be as honest as possible. Were there some glitches here and there? Well, I think so, because humans are not perfect. Compared to my experience with Ethiopia Airline, which I'm still going to do another video to give a review on Ethiopia Airline, but I feel like EgyptAir, my experience was just so good. The second flight from Egypt to Canada, that one was a bit more spacious than the first. But even the first, the Airbus was still quite spacious. We had a good leg space, and the toilet, the lavatory was also as okay as possible. You are not there to, it's not a 5-star hotel or something. It's just for you to travel. So I was not expecting too much on that. Another thing I really enjoyed, if I must be honest, is the food they served on the plane. First thing, Egypt does not serve wine. EgyptAir does not serve wine. I guess that's because of their religion and all that. So they don't give you alcohol, they don't give you wine and things like that. However, I for one don't take alcohol. I take a little bit of wine, depending on the wine, non-alcoholic wine. So, but I don't take alcohol, so I wasn't concerned about that. And then I was also very cautious of what I eat, so I was not even going to take certain drinks. One thing I noticed about EgyptAir food that was served on the plane was, I feel, now this is just a personal observation, I feel like they are very intentional about giving you something healthy. I might be wrong, but maybe because I'm very cautious of what I eat. Because I realized that everything that was served on the plane were things that were very healthy. The drinks, they gave more of fruit juice, they gave a lot of water, for you to be hydrated, and they gave tea, coffee if you wanted that, and quite a number of other things like that. So I, for one, just felt the menu list was just so on point for me. Of course, I would not deny that there were some things I could not really eat, but before I got on the plane, I already had in mind that I wanted to explore. I wanted to have a new taste of something different, because I was used to my Nigerian food, I was used to my traditional kind of food, so I wanted to taste another, delicacy, another cultural delicacy. So In as much as they could not serve us everything cultural about Egypt, but I was also able to taste, something different, and I think I enjoyed that experience. Some people will say, "Oh, it was very irritating to eat," but I feel there is no food that is really irritating because it's somebody's, traditional way of cooking it. So I just wanted to taste something different, and I think I enjoyed that experience beyond the savor or beyond the taste. I feel like the experience of trying something new was a very good one for me. My flight was a connecting flight. We're moving from Nigeria to Egypt. Then I spent about 5 hours in Egypt. Then from Egypt to Canada. First of all, the airport was so huge. I mean, I used to think Murtala Mohammed Airport was big, was huge, but getting to Cairo and seeing the airport there, it was just so big. And one of the greatest struggles I had was getting our gate, going to the location where we're going to be connecting to our next flight. That's the gate. So, and it was actually a lot. I wish, and they don't speak English. English is not, I don't think English is their national language. So I feel like if they could do something about that, because there were a lot of, I think they speak, is it Arabic or something? I'm not sure, but I think it's Arabic. So there were a lot of Arabic inscription everywhere. Now they were they had a little signboard or a little indicator that was translated in English. They had some things that showed English, but it was more of Arabic. So getting the gate, then also the direction was not just too good enough. I felt they could do better on that. However, we were still able to locate our gates, asking securities, asking airport attendants, and so on and so forth. So we were able to, now some of them, or let me say majority of them, don't speak English. So imagine trying to oh my goodness, imagine trying to interact with an Egyptian who doesn't understand what you're saying. But I guess because they are working at the airport, they had an idea of what you are talking about. Another thing that I observed that I felt could also be improved on is the Wi-Fi accessibility. This one is also a big one, because if I had not been lucky enough to overhear a guy explaining to somebody, I think it was actually to my sister, because I traveled with my family. So it was my sister that got the information, and then I went to meet the guy, and the guy explained to me how to connect to the Wi-Fi. So imagine we didn't have that privilege to meet the guy. We would have been in the airport for 5 hours without access to the internet, and that would not have been very, very palatable. If you just go to click on the Wi-Fi, it's not going to connect. So they had a system around connecting to the Wi-Fi, which was actually easy. But if you don't know, you don't know. Okay, enough of the stories. Let's move to the lessons I've learned on my first international flight. The first lesson is never believe everything you see or read on the internet. They could be somewhat misleading. This was something I saw with my own eyes. A lot of misleading information out there, and you just have to experience it to a large extent to be able to know that this is true and this isn't true. The second lesson is try to get a bit familiar with some airport terminologies. This is very important, because imagine getting to the airport and someone is asking you what does gate means, or someone is asking you, what does a boarding ticket, or what is a boarding ticket. It's just going to look ridiculous. Come on, you are traveling today and you don't know these things. You don't know what terminal is, you don't know what gate is, you don't know what boarding pass is, and so on and so forth. So you don't need to know everything, but just have a knowledge of these little things. Try to do your research ahead of time, and also make sure that your papers and your documents are complete, because oftentimes the airline will not help you check that out, because it is not their responsibility. Although when going to the immigration office, they will definitely let you know that this is not right, this is right. But at the same time, it might skip them. You don't want to be stranded, maybe if you are connected to another flight, and discover that there were certain documentations that you don't have. So make sure you do your due diligence to check your documents and be sure that they are complete. And most importantly, do your research. Do a little bit of research, watch some videos. Like I said, it's not everything you should believe, but there are certain informations you need to ask. If you are in doubt, you can go ahead to reach out to the airline, or reach out to professionals in the field, experts, or people who have been traveling, often. The last lesson for this video, and trust me, this is also very, very important, because it helped us, it helped me personally, and that is be willing to ask questions. See, no, they form No, they yeah. No, they form no, they form big boy. Like if you don't know what is going on, ask. If they ask for a document and you are not sure why they are asking, ask politely what's going on. Why do I need? I remember a scenario where I was arriving at the airport, and it was actually Nigeria. I was flying from Canada back to Nigeria, and I was stopped by an officer who was not, I don't even know who he was, but he seemed to be like an officer. And he began to say, okay, where is this? Where is your health card? And I stood there, I was dumbfounded. But thank God for the people that were around me, and they said, oh, ignore this person and let's just move on. So if I had just stood there and just started giving him everything, who knows, he would have delayed me. So you must be able to ask questions. If you are not sure of why some things are being asked, don't fight, because you might be fighting the wrong person, but make sure you ask questions. Then also make sure your ears are open for informations. That was how we got to know about the Wi-Fi. If we had not been interacting, networking, we would have missed that vital information. Make sure you interact, make sure you ask questions, feel free to network, of course, carefully, because you don't know who you are, but try your best to reach out to someone on the plane, talk to someone. Don't just sit there throughout the flight and you're looking till you get where you're going to, because the conversation you have on the plane might be the saving grace when you alight from the plane. So it is very important you network and ask questions. Would I fly EgyptAir again? I think so, because I really enjoyed them. Some people have bad reviews, but I didn't. So maybe until I experience, and I don't want to experience, because I will never experience anything bad. But I think I would love to fly EgyptAir again. Now, I would love to hear from you. So how was your first international flight? Was it stressful, fun, or was it a crazy experience? Share with me in the comment section and let us have fun together. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. It's very important to subscribe and you like this video so that YouTube can recommend our videos on a broader platform. So please do well to like and share, and also very importantly, subscribe. Thank you for staying this long to the end of the video. You are the real G. See you in my next video. Bye.